This is how you develop a drawing. You don't outline it and color it in. Okay, a really formful drawing emerges as form first, not shape. Okay, so that's why I'm not doing an outline, is because then that's why when we draw photographs, as when we're first learning to draw, right? You draw the shape and then you color. I can tell in an instant. In an instant when a student has drawn from a photograph. Just because of approach. What's that?
I said I didn't draw from a photograph. I just had a finished.
No, I didn't say yours did. Yeah, I can tell you just were in a hurry with yours. That's all. Yeah, with your potato. Yeah, that's all. I mean, you didn't. Not you weren't in a hurry, but you were just. Here's what happens. You want. You want to achieve likeness, right? As an artist, and that's our goal, kind of, as observation-based drawers. And if we're not doing that, then we panic and think we're failing. Okay, it's like when you're swimming and the undercurrent pulling on you. You panic, right? What you should do is just go with the flow, just relax. Okay? This is about mark making. So just enjoy that process of just scribbling. Fun. It's a very primal thing. Okay, let me do one more layer. So now I'm gonna hover in areas. I'm not pressing any harder. I'm just going to hover in areas where I know things are going to be darker. Now take your backgrounds all the way to the top of the paper, because what will happen is look like a dark halo and it'll flatten out your drawing. Background's all the way off the edge, so you want to kind of spend some time out here. And the other disadvantage of making the potatoes too small, you got a ton of background and foreground to draw, right? And that's boring. If potatoes are this big on your drawing, you're going to be just spending time scribbling in Nowheresville, man. Now notice when I'm moving around, I'm not lifting my pencil off, am I? I'm gauging space just by moving my pencil around the drawing. I'm not even looking. I know I'm drawing so lightly. So it's fun to kind of just have that freedom of letting the pencil move around the paper. I'm not worried about messing it up, because I know that my sense of touch here is so acute that I don't need to worry about that right now. At the end of the drawing, then I'm down to this. And I'm going in and scribbling tiny little scribbles and going along an edge and being very careful. At the beginning of the drawing, no. So, dark. Starting to see the top of that potato form, so I can kind of come in maybe and pull this background. Now, what happens if I go down too far with the darkness here on the side? It'll blend in with the potato, because the potato gets dark down there, right? So I gotta be very careful about that. We did that with the bag. That's right. So as I move down here, I'm gonna not hang out there as long, right? I'm gonna hang out longer up here. We're used to using how hard we push to create value. In this case, it's time that is creating value. Time spent in an area, right? So what you can start to see is a density starts to arise as well, right? I'm starting to fill in between all those scribbles. You're starting to get a little more dense vibe going in these areas I'm hanging out in. So I'm kind of hung out in the background here a little bit. Now I'm going to go down into the potato. And I see that's probably the most contrasted area. I got a bright glow here behind the potato, and this end of the potato is really dark relative to the area behind it. So I can kind of, feel good hanging out here for a little bit, darkening that. Now I haven't differentiated between the potato and the cast shadow, which will be kind of down in this area. Just kind of getting a flow going in terms of light and dark patches, right? Light and dark patterns.
What if you do something that's too dark and you need to make the potato lighter? So then you just don't...
You don't do it. You start over.
Oh,
okay.
I've been doing that a lot.
Yeah. That's right. That's where I want you to be with this. Okay. I want you to not rely on this. You could erase. Okay. But think about that. The moment I start erasing, I'm changing the language of the piece. Right. All of a sudden, things start smudging and smearing, and I see this white patch like floating in the middle of nowhere, and then I got to fill that in. So if you can kind of maintain a integrity, kind of allegiance to the process of real light marks to begin with. This is the discipline thing.
I have a problem because to me, I see nothing.
Where?
I don't see.
I see nothing.
I don't see the potato at all.
On my drawing?
Yeah.
I'm offended.
This is the proverbial can't see the tree from the forest kind of deal?
Kind of it is, yeah.
Okay.
You're seeing the large picture first, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I know what you're saying, but you see patches of light and dark, right?
Yeah, I see light here and I see light
That's
there.
this and this.
But I also see light here, which is
That's
growing.
this. That's this area right between. I'm not going to touch. There's a little triangle right here between the two potatoes. See that? In fact, it kind of travels up between the two. So I'm avoiding this area right now because I haven't got enough resolution yet in the drawing to figure that out. What I do know is that there's going to be a dark kind of right in here, and that dark's going to extend up to the side of the potato, right? So I can kind of feel comfortable. All drawing, all art making is abstract to begin with. Has to be. And even this is abstract. When you think about it, that's an abstract thing. It looks like the potatoes, but it's not. It's like a piece of paper with some graphite on it. I mean, remember when at the beginning of the semester I said, what is it drawing, right? Is it represents something else, or is it the thing itself, right? And it's this beautiful kind of combination of the two, essentially. But it is just that. This is abstract, right? That's not a real potato. I can't eat that. I could eat it, but I could, yeah, but it wouldn't taste like a potato. So all art is abstract. Any art form is abstract. It's a distillation, right? Okay, film, whatever you want to classify. Literature, all literature are words which are representations of sounds that come out of our mouths. Right? When you read a great novel, you're hearing the sounds, you're hearing the words, right? That's where it comes from. Sounds came before words. So that's abstraction, right? And the great writers understand that. Okay. So that's what you got to do, Barbara. Let go of the potato-ness to begin with, okay? And think of it in terms of just these basic forms. All right, now I'll let you guys go, but what I could do now is I could start kind of shortening up the strokes a little bit. I want to kind of refine this edge a little bit more. Give me that one in. So what I start doing is start coming short of the top of that potato a little bit. I'm going up, down. I'm still going up, down, left, right, but I'm just shortening up the strokes a little bit so that I can start to. Now I'm hanging out right at the top of the potato too much, so I need to extend that value up to here, right? I can't just hang out here. I got to kind of bring that all the way off the edge of the background. But can you see how I'm starting to gain a little resolution there, right? Just a little bit. Like the old you wants to go right in now and draw that top of the shape of that.
Of course
top.
it does.
Yeah. The new you is understanding. Oh, I gotta take my time with this. I gotta develop this slowly. Let it kind of emerge over a long period of time, so it has subtlety. You'll never get that, unless you let it develop slowly. Never happen.
And when you're doing the scribbling, you're going left, right, left,
Yeah,
right?
up, left, right, up, down. Left, right, up, down. It's
Left, right, okay.
Yeah. Left. Just a scribble. Up. See, it's like a cross, right? Going up, down, left, right, up, down, left, right. And then what I can do is I can choose momentarily in the moment, like, do I want to do more of this or more of this? But I'm not going to kind of keep doing this, and I'm stuck with that. Somebody did that yesterday. They just kept going with the apparel hatches. Don't do that. Keep it random. It's easier to fill in. Now, I haven't gone in and done the, that implication of cast shadow yet, right? Mm-hmm. So I'll do that real quick here, and then I'll let you guys go. So I'm just going to hang out under the potato for a little bit here, where I see the potato is starting to form. So I got this modeling shadow right there. Now I'm just going to kind of They're still pretty big. You know, they're still
And
pretty
this
big.
is still that's the top of the potato?
Yes, that's still the top of the potato. And these scribbles I'm making are still pretty big, right?
Mm-hmm.
But see how this is starting to separate itself from this, right? It's starting to get a little darker in here. Oh, by the way, don't use the side of the pencil. I just want everything you do to be a line, okay? So you're about a 45-degree angle, something like that. Don't use the side. And I'm way back, probably the first class and a half, you're way back here on the pencil.
Now, are you trying to get that?
Not that edge yet, no. I know there's gonna be a dark down here.
Okay.
So I'm just, in the aggregate, in the overall vibe of the drawing, I know this area is gonna be darker. Now, later in the drawing, yeah, then I'll get that crisp edge there, right? I'll try to start to infer that with smaller and smaller marks, right? But right now, I'm happy just to, now as I traverse up this potato, all of a sudden I see there's no cast shadow up in this area underneath the potato. What happens is, up there, not everybody can see it, but is the potato itself starts to get dark relative to the background. So the cast shadow ends about right in here, and then as I move up, the potato itself starts to get dark underneath. But I'm not in a hurry to show that. All I want to do is show that as this thing's moving up this direction, there's a modeling shadow under the potato. Notice I'm not hanging out in any one place for any extended period of time. Always moving, right? Always moving one area to the next. That'll create a holistic vibe to your drawing. Okay? Okay, let's take a look at this distance. So, starting to form a little bit, right? Top of potato, highlighted area, middle of potato, and a little implication of a cast shadow area, as well as modeling shadow here. We haven't really spent any time over there. So, think about something in a dense fog emerging, and somebody walking slowly, I used this analogy yesterday, walking slowly towards you in a dense fog. First of all, you don't even know it's a person. It's just this dark blob relative to the fog, right? Darkish blob. Not even dark, just kind of like a very light blob, probably relative to the white of the fog, right? And then as that person gets closer and closer, maybe you can discern that they're a person, maybe not. Then they get closer and closer, and maybe you can start to see it gets a little darker. So you see a little more contrast. And then maybe you can start to see a head, but maybe not. So the first thing is understanding that basic entity juxtaposed against the nothingness, right? Okay. But in this case, you're still the nothingness. You're putting marks down. Okay, create that sense of wholeness and atmosphere. Any questions? Yeah.
Why is it called cast shadow?
What's that?
Why is it called cast shadow?
Cast shadows. Never.
The light's being cast in the light, and the light's casting the shadow.
Yeah,
so
it's casting, meaning projecting.
throwing.
it.
It's like throwing it, I
Yeah,
guess. Or,
throwing. Cast is just a word. Yeah, I guess you're asking me what the word cast means, kind of, right? Cast. Yeah, well, I mean that's what cast means. It's not a shadow on the form as a result of the surface, but it's a light being thrown onto a different surface. Yeah. But the word cast means to throw out, I think, probably. You know, like casting a fishing line, something like that. So, what's that?
To be casted out.
Yeah, to be casted out. So it means a shadow that has been thrown out from the form
projected, I
itself,
guess.
right, to a different surface,
Yeah,
right?
projected.
So the cast shadow is on a different surface than the thing, which is casting the shadow. That makes sense? Yeah. So. Okay, sharpen your pencil often. See, mine's all worn down. You need to have that sharp pencil. Like, that's time for sharpening. Okay. Okay. Take your time.